Once upon a time, a city girl named Felicity and a city boy named Peter bought an abandoned 1830s farmhouse in New York. Hello, friends. Welcome back to week 3. This is the third week of waking up in our very own farmhouse stroke future homestead. And if you tuned into the last video, you'll know that the brilliant weather we've been having recently finally enticed me out to explore the woods that makes up the back of our property. And in today's video, we are doing something about all the trash that's in those woods. So if you were one of those people in the previous video who said, oh my gosh, I don't understand how you can stand to have that much stuff on your property, I would be cleaning up in the heartbeat. This is the video for you. So let's start out with the first cleaning expedition, which took place on March 20th. This was a rather short expedition because I only had about an hour and a half before the workday started, but it was such a beautiful warm morning, and I thought that we were running out of time before they came to collect the dumpster that we'd been given as part of an Orkin project. So I thought, you know what? Why not seize the moment and get started with at least the most egregious of the cleanup activities. It's a beautiful morning. Something muskrat, maybe? Looks like a beaver, but is more fat, which we learned in Oklahoma is likely a muskrat. Ran away from the creek off towards the derelict shed. God, what a beautiful morning. Problem with pulling this thing out is where to go, because directly between us and it is a whole thatch of brambles, plus this hillock thing here. Now that I'm back here, honestly, the least complicated way and shortest way to the dumpster is actually to go up the back of the hill that way. So I think that is what we're going to try. I was a little worried coming backwards up this hill about footing, but actually it was okay. You can see the path and the leaves there from where I dragged it. Actually, I think the leaves made it easy because they're soft and slippery, so easy to drag. So I walked it up as close as I could to the base, just sort of one corner at a time. Hooray! Thank goodness for leverage and pushing, because there's no way I would have lifted that thing up in there. But it's up, and I've pushed it back, hopefully far enough that if I can get that other unit up here, the other unit will just sit right up here. Did I show you guys this yesterday? Yes, that's correct. Those are a pair of muddy sneakers hanging out here. So since I'd had a relatively easy time dragging the single row of lockers, I thought, well, how hard can it be to drag a double row? Turns out, not the same thing. Well, step one, I got it off that shelving unit underneath and moved it, 4 feet? So just that much more to go. There's a bunch of hooks like these that were down here, and I'm wondering if they were meant to latch onto something. I assume so. So you could hang things up inside here. Anyway, they're going over in the growing pile of stuff that could be taken later if it has to be. I'm going to clear out the dirt down here too, and our lovely, hopefully still alive caterpillar here. Anything to lighten the load. We're up and over the worst part. We're up to the no longer afraid of my footing section here. Coming up the incline, you can see we basically plowed up a lot of the leaves, but the leaves are so thick, they help it slide. On this gravel here, I think this is going to be really hard going. I'm pretty proud of myself. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to drag that out when I first started moving it. I had to turn it over because, as you can see, the backs here are so wiggly that I just couldn't get it up. And also this puts all the surfaces I want to lever right in contact with the ground first. So hopefully I can just walk it up and then continue the momentum. We'll find out. So just as I was having a rest and thinking about going inside to get Peter, Karen, our next door neighbor, walked over, and it's the first time she's been on the property since we moved in. So we were able to walk around and I was able to tell her a little bit about my ideas. And then you guys, she made the most wonderful offer. So she has a small garden space next to her house, which is directly on the other side of the woods from us. And she is so busy with her art program that she is involved in right now that she doesn't have time to plant out her garden. And so she said that I could go ahead and plant things in her garden if I wanted to, which is amazing. It's an already prepared space. It's a lot smaller than our yard, which means it's going to be a lot more manageable for me to sort of figure out what's there. So I figure the cauliflower might go there, the onions might go there. I'm even thinking we might plant some peas over there. I think the tomatoes might be a little more rambunctious than she has the infrastructure to take care of, but what an amazing offer. So I definitely need to have a think about what I want to put in that bed, but what, isn't that just incredible? I'm so excited. And it was really great to see her as well. She's just been a fabulous neighbor, and I haven't had a chance to talk to her much since about January. So it was really, really great to see her. I got it to about there, and then he was able to help maneuver it up and in. This is the tire that I grabbed. I was going to drag it, but it turns out that this actually just turned out to be a far more helpful handle for me to carry it. Not a bad morning's work to get the two bins up here. So that was the end of the first day's adventure, which felt really, really good. And then the second part of our great cleanup came a couple of days later. Hello, friends. It is Saturday, March 22nd, and luckily for us, the Orkin folks who were here a week ago Thursday have not picked up their skip bin, as they call it in Australia and New Zealand, or their dumpster. And so I am going to take a trash bag and this lovely garden cart down to the woods. I have about 2 hours left before we lose the daylight, and see how much crap I can pull out. I figure this will be better than trying to haul things one piece at a time. The problem is I want to stop and pick up every single piece of little garbage that I see, because that's the way my brain works. Now, at this point, you may be saying, Felicity, what on earth are you doing with that garden cart? It is not meant to be hauling things out of the woods. And you would be correct. We do have a Tufts garden cart coming to us, but it is currently at my parents' house in Iowa, and so one makes do with what one has. I have used this garden cart for all kinds of things in Tulsa. It is a sturdy little thing. It was free from our neighbors, and it has been an absolute delight. So put your doubts aside and just go with the use what you have at hand spirit regarding this garden cart. You will soon love it as much as I do. First things first, we stopped to pick up my Explorer stick, stroke arm extender, stroke. God, I don't want to touch that. Can I pick it up with a stick? So this is the very first treasure I uncovered all the way at the back of the property. It is some kind of clay pipe. You can see that it is basically coming apart in two layers. And part of me wanted to say, well, you know, clay is natural. I could just leave it here. But the point of this exercise is to clean up stuff in the forest. And so this has definitely got to come out. Unfortunately, I had to ditch the garbage bag, and I found something better to replace it, which I will show you in just a minute. But first, let me kind of orient you where we are on the property. I pulled some stuff out of there, and I picked up behind this clump of trees here is the remaining metal from the lockers I picked up the other day. So I kind of went down this way, and I think I'm almost done. There's some tires down here and that chair, and that's kind of the next pile. And then I kind of thought I'd work my way towards the stream and back. So on the theory that things come to those who need it when they need it, this bin was lying on its side here, and it's a perfect fit to fit inside the cart, which is great. I was looking for a box inside that would do the same thing, and I couldn't find one that was narrow enough. That's a perfect fit. This indoor-outdoor carpet came out of there, as well as this tubing. I found this the other day when I was moving
the lockers and forgot to film it. There's no signage on the back. I have no idea how old it is or where it is. I'm guessing it's pretty faded from having been outside, but what a beautiful picture. Where are you from, picture? Okay, so the first load is up. Was that faster than carrying it all by hand? I don't know. It doesn't have any turn in the wheels because they're meant to go straight forward, and it's a little top heavy, but in the end I got up here, and guys, I don't know if you can tell on film, it's snowing. It's kind of like little ice balls. At first I thought it was hailing, but it's a little too gentle to be hail. It's snowing. I was just earlier this afternoon exclaiming how lovely and warm it was for the middle of March. That was 3 hours ago, and now it's snowing. I'm looking at this tote. It's in really good shape. I mean, obviously it needs to be cleaned off, and the bow in it maybe needs to be straightened out. It doesn't have a lid, but it's in pretty good shape. Chucking them up, the small bits and pieces up and in, was incredibly satisfying. Okay, well, that's the chair pulled out to the deer path. Must have been a lovely chair once upon a time. And one of the two tires, get the other one out. And then, as you can see, we've already got junk. There was a coffee maker, a couple of hangers, some chicken wire. There's a couple other things over here as well. I got a piece of fabric or cloth. I'm not sure if that's the top of the toilet seat or what. And then, of course, we have the jar that I found earlier and that jug that I found earlier. So it feels good to be getting stuff cleaned out of here. The problem with these tires is they're so full of the clay dirt here that they're super heavy. So I'm trying to flip them end over end out to the main path and get rid of the dirt along the way. That's where like that dirt spray came from and that dirt spray came from. Seems to be working all right. Okay, tire number 2. That one is actually in pretty good shape, and it's tall enough that I can just crouch down and wheel it, and I got almost all the dirt out. That one is smaller and not in as good a shape.
So I've been researching this bottle since my last video. Several of you guessed it was an Aunt Jemima bottle, which was close, but actually it turns out, I believe, to be a Crisco oil bottle from the 1950s or 60s.
And what exploration of other people's trash would be complete without a can of unknown provenance? There is something inside that moves when I jiggle it. I am not opening it. There's part of a marking here, but it's too corroded. I don't know if I like that look, but here we are. Anyway, okay. It's 6:30. I have probably about 50 minutes before the sun goes down, and since it's cloudy, I'm guessing that's about as much time as I have left. I have a whole thing of trash ready to go back. I have some more trash here. I need to carry that up by itself and the 2 tires up by itself, so I'm going to try to do all that tonight. And then what I'd like to do, there's basically like a little way in over here, and there's a bunch of trash there and a bunch of trash there. So if I can finish that tonight, then all that's left is the stuff that's really close in, which I could do tomorrow. And then at least this part of the woods will be more or less cleaned up. Load number, I think this is 3, it might be 4. I got it all the way back in there and all the way around here. It's snowing or hailing. As long as it's not rain to make my ground muddy. Aha! Mystery revealed. Our strange jug is some sort of sprayer. There's a label on the side that I can't read very well, but it says Optimum. And there's something hard inside, so this is going in the bin. I was going to save it if it was just an interesting jug, but if it's got chemicals in it, no way, Jose.
There is something quite picturesque about the light dusting of frost on the rusted out metal. Very atmospheric, I suppose.
Okay, friends, that is it for today. I was going to try to do one last load, but a lot of the stuff that's up here closest to the edge of the forest is stuff that needs a lot of pulling and heaving, and I'm not sure I'm going to get it out tonight. The light is starting to fade. The battery on my phone is almost dead. I'm hungry. The cat needs to be fed. So we're going to call it good at 3 loads. I think if I can tug out what's here tomorrow, it's probably only another couple hours of work to clean up in here, and that feels really, really good. That way I know that the forest is cleaned out, and then we can, even if the bin gets taken, when the bin gets taken away, we can focus on cleaning up the barn area and know that once it's done, everything is clean.
That's it for today's video. Thank you as always for watching. I appreciate all of you and your suggestions and your involvement and your advice so very, very much as we steward this property and our land and learn a ton in the process. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye for now.